The Man and the Long Road Home. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting long orange shadows across the cracked asphalt. Daniel walked steadily, his boots scuffing against the road, a worn backpack slung across his shoulder. The town he had left behind was a distant memory, its streets silent, its faces etched in the past. Ahead lay the long road home, miles of uncertainty, wind-swept fields, and forests that seemed to stretch endlessly toward the horizon. He had been away for years, chasing work, opportunity, and the fragile promises of a life beyond the familiar. Yet each step carried the weight of longing, of regrets accumulated in silence, of nights spent thinking of those left behind. The road was empty, save for the occasional car passing in a blur, but Daniel felt neither loneliness nor fear. This journey was not just physical, it was the bridge between who he had become and who he once was. As he walked, memories surfaced like ghosts along the roadside. He remembered his father's stern voice, softening only when Daniel first learned to ride a bike, the smell of his mother's cooking, comforting yet tinged with worry, and the laughter of friends who had once filled the streets with color and chaos. Those memories were fragile, yet they carried him forward, step by step, as the road stretched into the fading light. The first night, he camped near an old barn at the edge of a cornfield. The stars were sharp and cold above him, distant yet familiar. He built a small fire, its warmth a brief comfort against the chill of the night. Sitting beside it, he unpacked a tattered notebook, pages filled with his own words from years past. Each entry reminded him of the person he had been, the dreams he had nurtured, and the mistakes he had made. Sleep was brief and restless. At dawn, he continued, the road unwinding like a ribbon before him. Villages appeared sporadically, small clusters of life with cobblestone streets and quiet markets. He spoke little, observing instead, a child chasing a stray dog, a baker kneading dough, elders sitting in sunlight, sharing stories. Life went on, indifferent to his journey, yet each moment was a subtle reminder of the connections he had left behind, the lives he had been part of. By midday, he encountered an elderly man resting beneath a tree, a walking stick beside him. "Long road ahead, isn't it?" the man asked, eyes glinting with understanding. "It's not the distance I worry about," Daniel replied. "It's whether I can still find my place when I reach home." The old man nodded, offering a small smile. Home is not just a place, it's the courage to face it, the willingness to remember, and the strength to step into it with honesty. Keep walking, son. The road will show you more than the destination ever could. And so, Daniel continued, each step becoming both a physical exertion and a meditation. The wind carried scents of pine and earth, the sun painted fields gold and amber, and the occasional stream offered brief respite and reflection. With every mile, he felt the burdens of absence lighten slightly, replaced by quiet determination and the anticipation of reunion. By nightfall, he reached a bridge over a slow-moving river. He paused, leaning against the railing, listening to the water's soft rush. The river reminded him of childhood summers, of laughter echoing along banks, of skipping stones and secret places. He allowed himself a small smile, feeling the road's weight shift from uncertainty to purpose. The journey was far from over, but for the first time in years, he felt the possibility of finding himself again within reach. Morning light spilled across the horizon as Daniel continued his journey, the road stretching endlessly before him. Fatigue clung to his muscles, yet his mind was alive with thought. Each step forward felt heavier, not from the miles themselves, but from the weight of what awaited him at the end, the people he had left, the places he had abandoned, and the man he had once been. The long road home was not measured in miles, it was measured in courage, honesty, and reconciliation. By mid-morning, he passed through a small village tucked between hills. Smoke curled from chimneys, and the scent of fresh bread wafted through the air. Daniel slowed, observing the villagers in their routines. Children played near the fountain, elders sat exchanging news, and shopkeepers arranged goods with precise care. For a moment, he felt the pang of being an outsider. Years away had altered him, shaped him differently from those he once knew. A young woman approached, carrying a basket of apples. Her gaze lingered on him, a mixture of curiosity and cautious friendliness. "You've been traveling far," she said softly. "Are you heading home?" "Yes," Daniel replied, nodding. "It's been a long journey, and I hope I can find my place again." She smiled faintly. The road often changes the traveler more than the destination. But don't worry, home remembers those who return with truth in their hearts. Encouraged, Daniel pressed on. Forests rose to either side, their canopies forming shadows that shifted with the sunlight. The road narrowed, winding around streams and hills, yet the rhythm of walking brought clarity. He thought about the years he had spent away, the missed birthdays, the unspoken apologies, the quiet moments he had forfeited. Each memory, once heavy with regret, now became a guide, a lesson that shaped the man he was becoming. As dusk approached, Daniel reached a hill that overlooked his hometown. The familiar rooftops glimmered in the fading light, smoke rising from chimneys, the winding streets threading together the familiar shapes of childhood. His chest tightened. He had imagined this moment countless times, yet reality brought with it a wave of humility. Returning was not about reclaiming the past, it was about stepping forward, acknowledging the distance, and embracing the present with honesty. He descended carefully, entering the first street of his youth. Faces turned, children paused in their play, and neighbors exchanged brief glances. Daniel recognized the weight of anticipation. He was no longer a shadow in someone else's story, but a man seeking reconciliation in his own. His first stop was the house he had grown up in. The garden was overgrown, and the paint on the walls had faded, but everything felt alive with memory. He hesitated at the door, taking a deep breath, then knocked. The sound echoed within him as much as in the hallway. Moments passed. Then the door opened. His mother's face appeared, lined with age yet still radiant with warmth. Her eyes widened, and for a heartbeat, neither spoke. "Daniel," she whispered. "Mother." "I'm home," he said, his voice steady but thick with emotion. Tears streamed down her face as she pulled him into a tight embrace. He felt the years melt away, the burdens of absence replaced by the raw, unspoken relief of return. His father appeared behind her, older, more reserved, but his hand on Daniel's shoulder conveyed the strength of acceptance and love long withheld. The days that followed were filled with quiet reconnection, helping with chores, walking familiar streets, sharing meals, and talking late into the night. Each conversation, each laugh, each gesture was a step in rebuilding the bridges he had left behind. The long road had not only brought him home physically, but had also guided him through the internal journey of forgiveness, humility, and rediscovery. One evening, Daniel walked alone to the hill overlooking the town, the sunset painting the sky in shades of crimson and gold. He realized that the journey had changed him irrevocably. The miles of empty roads, the nights of reflection, and the encounters with strangers and villagers alike had instilled in him a deeper understanding of patience, resilience, and the value of home. And as the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, Daniel felt the quiet satisfaction of completion, not in reaching a destination, but in understanding that every step, every challenge, and every reflection had led him to this moment. He was home, and he was whole.